Everybody checking in on Thursday as the 49ers back on the practice field, getting ready to face the Arizona Cardinals in the finale of the regular season. And when I say the 49ers are back on the practice field, not very many 49ers are back on the practice field, to be quite honest with you, is a lot of guys, 10 guys out of practice and don't know who's going to be available for this game or what. But basically, what Kyle Shanahan said earlier in the week is they're not going to press the issue. They're not going to, ask guys to get out there who maybe aren't just quite physically ready for that. A lot of guys have to, during the course of a season, have to play hurt, have to go through some stuff to get out there on the field. But this is what Kyle Shanahan had to say about that. He said it being a short week, for just played on Monday, of course, and where we're at here being the last game of the season, we're not going to ask guys to play through some injuries and stuff like that. So, who are those guys who have injuries? Well, Brock Purdy certainly won't play in this game with the right elbow injury. Nothing that's considered long term or serious, but he will not play. And that opens the door for Joshua Dobbs to get out there. He will make his first start as a member of the 49ers when the 49ers needed a backup quarterback earlier in the season. That game against Green Bay, it was Brandon Allen who was the backup at that point. Now, the next week when the 49ers played in Buffalo and Purdy was back in the lineup, Joshua Dobbs was the backup. And the thinking there was just because of the athleticism, his ability to make plays and scramble and do some different things, because of what they anticipated the weather would be like for that game, and it was basically a blizzard. Kyle Shanahan felt that Dobbs was the best option for that game. And then the game on Monday night, Dobbs was also the backup quarterback. And again, the thinking was with a makeshift offensive line, if the 49ers had to go to a backup quarterback, it would be good to get somebody in there who could just run around, make plays when protection breaks down, and all of that. And with Purdy leaving the game late in that game, Dobbs came in and helped lead the 49ers back. I think Purdy put him down the field a little bit, and then Dobbs took it the rest of the way for the touchdown. So in this game, the season finale, it'll be Dobbs going up against his former team, one of his many former teams, the Arizona Cardinals. So it'll be interesting to see what the 49ers do at the backup quarterback position this offseason, because they're going to sign Purdy to the long-term contract. And then what do they look at backup quarterback? Will they want to bring back Brandon Allen? Will they want to bring back Joshua Dobbs? And even if they want to bring back Dobbs, I know he wasn't real thrilled to not be the starting or not to be the number two quarterback when the season started. So would he want to go somewhere else for another opportunity? And then the other one, and I know it's kind of laughed about and joked about, but you know, obviously Kyle Shanahan has a long history with Kirk Cousins. They go back many years. I think Cousins' days as a starting quarterback in the NFL are gone, but does he want to continue playing? And does he want to be a backup quarterback? And if he is fine being a backup quarterback, would he do it for the 49ers at whatever price they're willing to pay? So, would it be $2 or $3 million a season? I don't know. Maybe a team will offer him more, or would Cousins just believe that being with the 49ers is the best opportunity? So I know it's going to be laughed about and joked about and scoffed at, but I would not be shocked, of course, if Kirk Cousins ends up with the 49ers, not as a starter, but as a backup quarterback, kind of I guess a high level, high profile backup quarterback. So that's the situation. Purdy out for this game with the injury. Who else did not practice on Thursday? I got 9 more names for you. Deebo Samuel, ribs and wrist. Defensive end, Nick Bosa, knee. Tackle, Colton McKivitz, knee. Guard, Spencer Burford, calf. Defensive end, Leonard Floyd, shoulder. Cornerback, Diamador Lenore, shoulder. Safety, Jair Brown, ankle. Defensive end, Robert Beal, ankle. And then linebacker, Demetrius Flanagan, fouls with the calf. Three guys limited in practice on Thursday. Tight end George Kittle with ankle and hamstring. Quarterback Isaac Yadam. and also wide receiver Ricky Pearsall with an illness and also a chest injury. So that's where the 49ers are. Very shorthanded going into this week. They've made some acquisitions, some comings and goings on the practice squad. So we'll see if they put anyone else on injured reserve. That you can only bring up two players from the practice squad to suit up for a game and play in a game. So if the 49ers want to, you know, sit a significant number of players for this game, they might have to make some more roster moves and put people on IR, bring them up from practice squad, whatever. So we'll see how that all that turns out. Okay, so the 49ers had some players on their roster. Make four guys made the Pro Bowl um, for this year team, and that's probably a little bit more than I thought would be making the Pro Bowl this year. But the names are guys that you know and you've heard their names associated with Pro Bowl many times in the past. Offensively, it's Kyle Juszczyk and George Kittle. And then defensively, it's Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. So for their standbys. One guy who did not make the Pro Bowl, he's an alternate and was none too pleased about it, Diamador Lenore. And he talked about the draft status. And I do think, this is probably the year where Diamador Lenore kind of got on the radar. And I think cornerback is one of those positions where, the fans get a vote, players get a vote, coaches get a vote, and they're supposed to count equally one third apiece. And so, Lenore wasn't thrilled, obviously, that he didn't make it. He felt like he was kind of robbed of that, and he certainly has a point. But this year, the 49ers rewarded him for that, for the season he's had, for what he's done for the team this year. And sometimes you kind of see stuff where a player doesn't get the full recognition until maybe another year has passed. And so, the Pro Bowl cornerbacks for the NFC this year were Jalen Johnson, Byron Murphy, J.C. Horn, and Devin Weatherspoon. And all those guys are good players. But, I know it's not based on stats. But if it were, Diamador Lenore has as good a case as anybody, if not a better case. I mean, to my knowledge, he did not give up a touchdown pass all season, whereas the other guys did. Lenore has been just an absolute rock, playing outside cornerback in base downs and then sliding inside to nickelback in those situations. So, maybe this is the year. It just kind of seems like a lot of times, not always, but it seems like a lot of times a player who was a later draft pick who came into the NFL with not a whole lot of fanfare, he has to wait a year longer than he should to get that kind of recognition. But then maybe um, it follows the other way too, is that maybe he stays at it and gets it a year after maybe he should. So I'm not saying that's always the case, but sometimes it is. So Diamador Lenore snubbed for Pro Bowl. He was an alternate on the NFC Pro Bowl team. So I think four 49ers were alternates to that team. The alternates are Brock Purdy, Trent Williams, Leonard Floyd, and Diamador Lenore. So the 49ers have the four Pro Bowl players and the four alternates. So that's the quick roundup of what's going on in 49er land. By the way, got back just moments ago from the Rose Bowl, drove down to LA with the family. We got Oregon Ducks in the family, so drove down on Tuesday, watched the game, or I guess you could call it a game. Wasn't much of a game. Uh, Ohio State just boat raced Oregon, but had a good time hanging out with all of our Duck friends and saw a lot of people we know and good time. And my daughter, who's a sophomore at Oregon, saw a lot of her friends up down there at the Rose Bowl. My first trip ever to the Rose Bowl. Um, don't know that I'll be going back, but it was kind of a bucket list item to go to the Rose Bowl and find out later that Art Spander, the great legendary Bay Area columnist who is kind of synonymous with the Rose Bowl, inducted into the Rose Bowl Hall of Fame in 2016, he had attended 70 consecutive Rose Bowls. Yes, 7-0 consecutive Rose Bowls, but he was unable to attend this year. And so his first year not making it is my first year making it to the Rose Bowl. So hats off to Art Spander. I thought about him obviously a lot when I was at the Rose Bowl. So hope he's doing well. And that's it. That's the rundown from 49ers update, Rose Bowl update, and all that. So thanks for watching this video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, leave a comment, and a like. And that is it for now.